Wow, what an amazing chapter of One Piece! Luffy defeated an elder, and we saw appearances from Roger, Shanks, Dragon, Buggy, and other important characters who will play big roles in the final war. Shanks' evil twin brother from the Garland family also showed up. Make sure to stay tuned for more of this incredible One Piece story. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future One Piece videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. In the last chapter, we saw Saturn facing Bonnie and Kuma on the ship. Mercury and Dune Worm Peter were fighting against our ancient giant robot. The Straw Hat ship was successfully flying through the air, escaping thanks to Atlas's sacrifice, which slowed down Nostro just enough. It was an epic cliffhanger, leading us to this chapter called The Wave of the Era. We were told that the phrase was used by Roger, the Pirate King, in the past. So it's not surprising we'll see more of him in this chapter, as the last chapter foreshadowed. Everyone around the world was shocked to learn that his true name was Goldie Roger, not Gold Roger, as the government tried to make everyone believe to downplay the whole Will of D thing. This also explains why Roger didn't tell the world the truth in this chapter. In the color spread, we see a giant Nami, which I'm always excited about. She takes up most of the illustration, with smaller pictures of the rest of the crew around her, enjoying summer foods like ice cream and watermelon. This chapter starts with Saturn attacking Bonnie and Kuma with his poisonous legs. The giants put their shields together to block the attacks. At this point, Saturn is the most hated man in One Piece and definitely the most hated character of this arc. After everything he's done, he's still trying to hurt Bonnie and Kuma, but on the bright side, I've been wanting him to get his ass kicked, and oh boy, does Oda deliver. Luffy looks around and sees that Bonnie has transformed into her own sun god form. Even though launching one attack in this form exhausts her, she knows she has to give it her all to get her revenge against Saturn. She tries to get up but is understandably exhausted. We get one of the biggest moments in this arc with Luffy. There have been times when Luffy was less effective against the elders, like when he couldn't hurt Mercury and his sturdiness, and times when he was more effective, like when he sent Mars blasting off again, like Team Rocket. With the help of his crew, he always seems to be trying in his own goofy way. Luffy has the confidence to not go all out against Saturn. Instead, he purposely punches one of Saturn's attacks away from Bonnie, but refuses to attack Saturn himself. He says, "Bonnie, you are the one who must do it." I agree with Luffy, it would be super satisfying for Bonnie to play a part in defeating Saturn after everything he's done to her and her family. I love a good revenge story as much as anyone, but I never thought Luffy would toy around with an elder like this and keep stringing him along until Bonnie could finish him. Think about it, he's so confident in his power at this point that he's not worried about being able to stop every one of Saturn's attacks for as long as it takes Bonnie to step up. It's such a flex. After this, the balance of power between the Straw Hats and the Elders has definitely shifted in my mind. I'm happy that Oda actually gave Luffy and the crew a chance to shine against the Elders rather than just having them escape for dear life. It makes more sense if the series is really wrapping up because obviously there are bigger threats like Emu and Blackbeard. Back to the chapter. After Luffy encourages Bonnie, she looks at Saturn angrily, gets up, and floats in the air, ready to fight. We cut to Vegapunk, who is still finishing his speech. The Elders, with all their power, have not been able to stop the broadcast. This is another victory for Vegapunk, who planned well enough for his broadcast to reach this far despite the world government's desperate attempts to stop it. Even York, the traitor, couldn't help them. Vegapunk says that the same incident from the Void Century will happen again because the ancient weapons that caused the disaster still exist. He revealed that Joyboy made sure these weapons were passed down. Vegapunk wasn't sure if Joyboy was good or evil, but given the unjust world government, It's clear Joyboy wanted to make it possible for people to rise up and fight back, dragon style. The ancient weapons can give hope to the weaker, oppressed side. While Vegapunk talks about the ancient weapons, we see Vivi and Shirahoshi, also known as the ancient weapon Poseidon, reacting. We also cut to Skypiea, where Konis and Iza arrive at the palace to greet Viper's group. They are unaware of Vegapunk's broadcast. It's realistic that we've seen multiple character updates of people not following the broadcast, even though most of the world is. Vegapunk mentions the ancient weapons and the heirs of the races that were supposed to be erased from history. Despite the world government's best efforts to erase the past and discriminate, people like Buccaneer Kuma and Lunarian King are still around. We see Kuma on the Elbaf ship and a flashback of his conversation with Vegapunk about the Buccaneers. We then see Marco thinking about Whitebeard talking about the land of gods in the Red Line. King is alive but bandaged, thinking about the Lunarians. Finally, we see Pudding in a cell, remembering her childhood when she was teased for having 3 eyes. Even if many didn't make it, it's nice to see the heirs still playing a role in this global game for power. They might still help take down the world government that hunted their people. We then cut back to the Elbaf ship, where Luffy's actions get even more impressive. Saturn keeps trying to attack Bonnie, but Luffy blocks all his attacks. What a legend, he'll deserve an insane bounty after this, no doubt. Bonnie remembers the first time Saturn and Kuma saw each other in God Valley. She acts as Kuma's memory bubble, so she knows these moments. She remembers when she was a baby and Saturn told her he was the one who experimented on her mother Jenny. This highlights the tragedy of Kuma, her mother, and Bonnie and Saturn's cruelty. This arc is wrapping up, as Oda is addressing these crucial points. Bonnie finally screams, "How dare you do all that to my dad and mom? There is no way you guys are gods, but God does exist." This is an epic line. We see reactions from Sentomaru and Kizaru. Interestingly, while Bonnie is talking, Kizaru is still lying down, giving us nothing but another ... bubble. It's pretty clear by now that Kizaru doesn't want to help the elders anymore. If he really wanted to, he would have gotten up by now. Bonnie remembers Kuma talking about sun god Nika while she shouts at Saturn in tears. Kuma had said he would come to save her again, and for Bonnie, Luffy has answered that prayer or prophecy. Bonnie continues, saying, "Heroes do exist. I really wanted us 3 to live together. I even thought I wanted to die if I ended up alone." It's very sad to hear, especially since Bonnie is only 12 and still a kid. Saturn interjects with, "You damn insects," and then we get an epic double-page spread with Bonnie and giant Luffy preparing to do a combo attack against Saturn. I like this because Bonnie gets to help, but it's not her doing it alone, as she shouldn't be strong enough to solo Saturn. While this is happening, Vegapunk's message continues. He says, "When the disaster comes, please take care of yourself. I believe in the wisdom of mankind. I believe in science." This time, we see Iceberg, Judge, and Caesar arguing, and Nami's tutor in Witheria and the Egghead Shore. Emeth, our ancient giant, is still facing off against Dune Worm Peter and Warcury. Then we get another epic double spread. Oda is really on fire with this chapter, and this isn't even the final double spread. We see Luffy and Bonnie's combo attack. She punches Saturn's face with a giant punch while Luffy, in his giant form, punches the rest of Saturn's body. This is so satisfying. Bonnie's attack is called the Nika Punch of Liberation. This moment is helping to liberate her from her traumatic past, so the name fits perfectly. Saturn's body is blown to pieces, full of holes, and the pieces start falling into the sea. All the giants cheer for the victorious Bonnie and Luffy. Even Kuma seems to be smiling a little, which is the most gratifying detail of all. Bonnie finally lets go and cries, while Luffy laughs and says, "We blew him away. Hey Bonnie, you did great. What an amazing finish to this arc before their escape." Absolutely loved it, and it hyped up Luffy while also giving Bonnie her much-deserved closure. Now the Thousand Sunny is about to fall near the Elbaf ship, and we see Usopp. Chopper, Jinbei, and Zoro. Vegapunk continues, saying, "The deaths of legends like Roger and Whitebeard are merely the opening curtain for the new age. Those who can no longer be stopped are the ones closest to the truth." Maybe Roger set the trigger for it to be this way from the start. This could be a defense for Roger not telling the world what he learned. One reason, as mentioned before, is that he thought it might not make a difference. Here, we have the possibility raised that he did his best to set things in motion so that good would prevail in figures like Luffy. I think that's what Oda is getting at. Vegapunk then says something important, but it's not certain that the person Joyboy hoped for will be the one who gets his hands on it. So it seems that rather than being certain, Joyboy and perhaps Roger were hopeful. They hoped someone like Luffy would come and win. But there are others in search of that treasure and power. To reflect that, we see Hachinosu, where all the pirates are growing restless, waiting for Teach's return. They want to set sail already. In Sabaudi, Rayleigh gets drunk and falls asleep. Shaki says, "Ray-san, you will catch a cold staying like this. If you have a good answer, let me know why you think the Dark King is drinking himself to sleep like this in the comments." We then see the legend himself, Shanks, getting drunk like Rayleigh. We even see the final Yonko, aka the Cross Guild. All the men are in awe because Buggy has a deep connection to the true history. They're excited. We see Crocodile and Mihawk staring in silence, looking annoyed as usual at Buggy, while Buggy is in shock. We then see other major players in this final Great War. We see Marine HQ saying they need to go and get it before anyone else does, meaning the One Piece, I assume. The final race for the One Piece is going full steam ahead right now. Then we return to Vegapunk's closing line of the chapter. He says, "Whether it will be the one Joyboy wished for or not, the fate of the world will be decided by the one who claims it." In an amazing third double page of the chapter, we see the final sentence Vegapunk says along with a collage of panels featuring the most relevant characters in One Piece now. Monkey D. Luffy, Marshall D. Teach, Shanks, Buggy, Akainu, Dragon, Emu, Kobe, Kuzan, Garland Garling, and Sabo. Vegapunk finished with a hype statement that echoes Roger's line that started the whole series. What an epic finish for the arc and transition into the final war or race for the One Piece. Also, here is the part about Shanks' evil twin that I promised. We see a panel with one more mysterious character in the shadows, showing us that he will be a big deal in the final stretch of the story, even if he hasn't been revealed yet. It's a mysterious man with a cape that holds a sword similar to Shanks' sword, or so we're told. Kind of like that one central figure that was shown in the shadows when Dragon was talking about the Holy Knights or God's Knights. That is the end of this epic goosebump-inducing chapter. If you got hyped by seeing all the Yonko again in this one chapter, you don't want to miss my video on my rankings of Awakened Devil Fruits. Link on screen right now, like and subscribe for more One Piece, and I'll see you in the next one.